Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 218. My name is John Morgan. Cold Coffee is with me. We are in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. That's right, still not on the road yet. The MMA Roadshow has been in Vegas for 7 straight weeks.
Somebody done put the boot on the car. The car is stuck in the driveway. And I was wondering how you were going to lead it off with. It is still beautiful. Vegas is always beautiful, but it's not our typical sunny day.
It's not. It's weird. It's raining, but you can still see blue sky and bright sunshine and clouds, but there's rain coming down as well, which I think it only rains 8 days a year here or something like that.
Yeah, and it was really sunny when it started the day, which is surprising, and the sun will come up. It's kind of like if you ever been like Florida, a lot of times you get the little flash rains, and then the sun's out later on.
That's what we got now.
That's what we'll have.
It's still beautiful. The Casa de Cold Coffee is still beautiful. The luscious landscaping on the grounds outside are soaking in the fragrant rains.
Let the palm trees take in all the rain. Yes.
Well, it is a very atypical day. Yeah, it's funny, man. First of all, like I said, 7 straight weeks in Las Vegas, which is weird. That's I think it's probably a record for me since we started working for Junkie. But we're going to change that next week. You and I are going to be both in Chicago, so we'll get that done. But it is funny, man. We were kind of talking about it last week with Oscar Willis because he's really, man, he's into that grind now too, man. He's traveling maybe more than anybody in the game right now, man, for the Mac life because he's doing boxing too. But you get into these spells, man. When you're on the road, as much as we love being on the road, man, as much as I know that you and I both enjoy covering fight weeks and stuff, like you get to a point where you're just ready to be home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when you're home, you get to a point where you're just ready to be on the road, man.
Ready to be gone.
That's it. That's where I stand right now. I'm excited to get fight week going next week.
Yeah.
So.
I'm looking forward to it. Chicago's a great town, and a lot of times the unfortunate, if you're ever unlucky enough to catch a UFC there in, say, like November or January, Chicago winters are brutal. So I'm looking forward to being nice there.
Yeah, it's
fingers crossed.
I know you've been in there before with some of those winter shows where like your gear
freezing.
It's so cold your gear wouldn't work. I mean,
that's
the ridiculous.
Mechanisms of the cameras as you're trying to focus, and you could just feel it fighting, like the focus ring and everything just tighten up. Then you're just like, oh shit, I didn't want to go in at that point. And like, please don't break my gear. And then you're wearing gloves, so you're trying to fumble with the mechanics, and that's not working. So then you take your glove off, and then your hand's freezing because it's negative whatever degree wind chill up there.
Nah.
But yeah.
Pass on that. We're going there during the summer, thank God. All right, one other atypical thing as we set the scene here. Normally, as we sit here at the beautiful Casa de Cold Coffee, we're having a couple frosty beverages, especially if Latchkey has sent their monthly shipment to us, then we get into it pretty hard. But today, I got to go work after this. I got to go do a little commentary work, Final Fight Championship over at the Rio. I'll be with Frank Mir. So
in the Fight Dome?
At the Fight Dome over at the Rio. So I am just drinking a very large cup of Coke Zero that I got from Chick-fil-A. I had a little chicken sandwich on the way over
First, I thought
here.
it was a big gulp.
Yeah,
so if any of the viewers or listeners know what a big gulp is, that's about how big his drink is.
It is very large, but
large.
That's not really the story here. The story is that over here you have got water, which is great. Nice. Now you didn't want to be drinking alone since I'm not drinking. You're like, hey. But my man is drinking water out of a pickle jar, a glass pickle jar with the label still on it. It hasn't even taken to washing the label off of this 32-ounce pickle jar.
Well, sometimes you take the label off, it gets all sticky under there, so I just kind of left it. I have actually washed the glass. I just haven't taken the step to
I just don't know if it gets more white trash than that.
Yeah,
that is.
I embrace my white trash.
You are letting your inner white trash come out right there. Just pickle jar with the label still on. Man. By the way, I'll give you a quick life hack that my wife taught me because I was trying to get the sticker off something.
Yeah.
Take a blow dryer and take the blow dryer next to it, and it heats up, and as it warms up,
so it heats the glue up.
It heats the glue up, and it peels right up. My wife told me that, and I was like, "Come on, how good could it work?" You know what? Worked like a champ.
Did it
dude.
really?
Yeah. Solid life hack there. So if you're trying to get stickers,
got one. Yeah.
If you're trying to get pickled stickers off of your jars so that they can be just a normal glass.
Yeah. I mean, you can't beat it. It's a nice 32-ounce glass, so I know exactly how many ounces I'm getting.
Solid. All right, listen, I haven't been on the road for the show, but I did get to go on the road last week, actually. CFFC 75, Granger versus Azevedo was out there in Coachella, California, so I got to go do that. So hopefully everybody got to watch that on UFC Fight Pass.
I did. I went back and watched it after I tried doing it immediately after, and it was still archiving, but it was good. I liked it. I thought there were some good fights. I mean, he warmed up a little bit. I think at first, he was kind of settling into it. I think both of you were kind of settling into it when it started, and then just feeling off each other. But by the end, I thought the camaraderie between the two of you, I thought the flow was nice, and Jessica worked out well by the end. Same with her. She wasn't the same at first. I think it's different. I think every fighter probably sucks for them to get asked all the same interviews, but then when they swap the roles, they regurgitate the same shit at first, and then she started getting into it as well. And by the end, I thought she did a pretty good job as well. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I thought it was good. I thought they put on some good fights, and for the most part, I thought it ran pretty smooth. And,
yeah, we had a couple of production hiccups here and there that we got to work out. It was all of us were working together for the first time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So as you said, me and CM Punk, obviously we had never called fights together before. We had done interviews and stuff, but didn't. It takes a little while to feel that out, and then I'd never worked with that producer before, so I didn't know exactly the way her name was Christine, like exactly the way she wanted to call things, and some of the terminology that she was used to and the timing that she was expecting. So it took a little bit, but I felt by the end of it we were clicking, and man, Miranda Granger, she is going to be in the UFC. I think. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was pretty spectacular.
Amazing fight. Finish, 41-second standing guillotine choke. She got an invitation to the Contender Series, which is cool. It's kind of the next step. Now, whether she'll get in the UFC off of that or not, you never know. I mean, it depends on how things go that night, right? But
I mean, she's got the look, and I mean, if she has a good performance like that, I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, I think they need to pull more women out of that Contender Series. There just hasn't been a lot of participants.
Yeah, there haven't been a ton.
I mean, Shevchenko was, obviously came out of there. I think that's really the only other female fight that I really can recall.
Yeah, there were a couple on the Brazil version.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't see the Brazil ones.
But
as for
I think
the
you're
English
right.
ones, I think that was the only fight I can remember. And they pulled a woman out of it, so they need to actually use that a little bit more. So
it's interesting. I was talking to some people in her camp and some people. It's just other people in general. It is because everybody loves the Contender Series, right? I mean, obviously we love the show. But as a prospect, it's kind of an interesting decision, right? Like, if you feel like you're a surefire, like if you feel like you're blue chip prospect, like you're definitely going to make it to the UFC, is that necessarily the best place to go? Because the thing is, there is no guarantee. It's not like just win and get in, right? I mean, you got to win and impress, and it's probably got to be a quick finish. I mean, Dana doesn't typically go for, if it's a grinding affair or whatever, that you're probably not going to get selected. So, you could go and they're going to match you up with a killer. Like, right? I mean, that other person's going to be a killer. Man, everybody they bring on there is killers. So it's kind of an interesting decision if you're, again, now, if you're not sure, if you don't know if you're on their radar, if you don't feel like, if you don't have this perfect undefeated record, then, it's probably your best bet. But if you feel like you're a shoo-in, like there's no way you don't make it to the UFC at some point, it's kind of a risky maneuver rather than just kind of hang out and maybe take some lower fights.
Yeah, I definitely could see that, but also depending on what you're getting paid and maybe whatever organization, you're getting guaranteed money, which more than likely might be better than what you are getting. True. But also, too, when you think of it, most of these fighters are such unique individuals. They always want to be tested against the best. They want to see where they're at, and I think if most of them have any aspirations and let alone just realization, in their head of what they really want to fight against, this is your best chance to actually put yourself against people on that level that literally you could take this fight, you win it, and you could have a contract.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through whatever it is, 8 weeks, 12 weeks on a Big Brother house or the tough house, So I think for a lot of them, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I don't really see too much of a downside, at least in the terms of somebody's like, well, hey, I might go in there, I might lose, I'm going to get a record, maybe I could go another 3 fights, another one. They are fighting with guaranteed presence of the UFC president and the matchmakers watching them. That's a hard opportunity just right there. You could have 3, say if you're doing, say, Cage Fury or LFA or something, you don't have that guarantee
Right.
that they're going to be there. You hope that you put on a couple good performances and they maybe stumble upon your footage,
Right.
or you have a good manager to push.
And there's
it.
something
This
different
is
about
guaranteed.
There's something different about watching a fight in person and it registering in your memory versus like watching tape.
Right.
So you're right about that.
Right.
You're right about that. No, you're dead right.
That's a great. I mean, like, I think, we talked about acting earlier. Like, say if you want to do something, you want to have those agents in the building. You have a guaranteed shot to have 6 very important eyeballs watching your fight, and that's Mick, Sean, and Dana.
True.
All watching your fight, and then guarantee that they're going to either remember your name or they're going to forget you right after it. And even then, and I say that jokingly because even if it's not a great fight, they're still seeing you, and you will be on their radar officially. So I think if anybody has an opportunity to do this, I say you got to do it.
Well, and you're absolutely dead. And when you explain it that way, you're absolutely dead right. And you hit the nail on the head earlier too, I think, which is these fighters, man, they're cut from a little bit different cloth. I think me and you are like, hey, man, what? Not to say
how
the easiest.
How can I skate by?
I don't want to say like the easiest way, but it's like, what's the path of least resistance?
Who's
for
still
me to
fighting
get
an injury that wants to take a fight?
So true. Well, listen, I think Miranda Granger is going to be there, and man, no, I had a good time with CM Punk, and I'm not going to do their next show because I'm already lined to be up at Bellator CFFC 76. Is going to be June 14th, which is the same night as Bellator in New York. So I'll be tied up then. But they did offer me the one after that, which will be in August. I think.
Who's going to fill in the meantime?
They're going to have like a rotation because they had some crew that they were already working with. So they're kind of working me into the rotation.
Gotcha.
To have some options available. They're trying to ramp up their schedule, and I think the old team that they had. Well, CM Punk's going to do like all of them. He's on every call. But their other play-by-play guy, I don't think he has the ability to get away and stuff because he's got a full-time, I think, a radio gig as well. So he can't take off all the time to go do these shows. So
you're like the UFC's Brendan Fitzgerald.
That's right. Just kind of fill in. They just kind of tap on me
hey, can you tap in for this show?
I'm the last one on the rung for sure, man. But no, it was good, man. We had a good time, and man, it's funny because CM Punk. We've always said I like the guy, man. Personality-wise, man, he's always been very pleasant to be around, very professional. But I don't follow the world of wrestling, and man, being around him and out in public, I really realized like how well known that guy is. I mean, just walking up in public, people, rushing for pictures and all that stuff. I mean, he is a damn star, and I'd kind of. I don't want to say forgotten about it. I just never really knew, you know what I mean? But just being around him at dinner and stuff like that, people rushing up to take pictures. And he has like 2.4 million followers on Instagram or on Twitter, I think, or something.
Yeah, it's funny when you see him go up there and just sort of address the crowd like he used to do. He's very casual. He's very laid back.
Yep.
I think it was in one of his first interviews where he just kind of was like, whoa, this is my first interview up here or something. It's like we get it, but you're not really probably supposed to say that, know. But it was it was fun. It was neat seeing him, and even at the weigh-ins, his interaction stuff. So I think it'd be good to see him. I think he'll get better at what he does.
Yep.
But I thought I was actually pretty impressed. You could tell the work that he's done on training himself. I thought when he was actually giving feedback during the fights, that he seemed pretty well informed. I was pretty impressed that he had been doing his work.
I would agree too. His MMA knowledge, his fight knowledge, it's up there. He may not have been able to execute it at the highest level like he wanted to. You know what I mean? But and he even took a good stride when it kind of made some jokes about his UFC career a little bit along the way. Man, that
was
good-natured stuff. He had fun with it, so it was cool. I had a good time, man. I really enjoyed the opportunity, and I'll be back on the call for them in August. I will say it was pretty funny. Their ring announcer. His name is Dr. David Sarnoff, and
was.
He's a character. All right,
yeah, he's a character.
He is a character both in and out of the cage, but he's also a what do you call it when you work on the back? Chiropractor.
Oh, he's a
chiropractor, right? I believe that's what his profession is because he was giving some neck adjustments to people, but. I will say this. It was funny.
hope he's a chiropractor, not just a guy who's like, I'm good at this. I do this on the side.
So this was crazy, right? After it was over, we were all having a dinner, and the whole team, the execs, and all of us, and Jessica Penne was talking about this kind of lingering injury that she's been dealing with, and I think she's been pretty open about it, but I don't want to reveal because fighters can be a little sensitive about that. But she's been dealing with a lingering injury that's kind of caused her some issues and why she's having trouble getting cleared to book a fight again. And he was like, "Come here, let me take a look at that." and it wasn't her back and it wasn't her neck, so it was something else. And he went to go and worked on it, and I'm like, what the hell is going on right here? Like, is this really happening? Like, she has access to the PI, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's good. And he was like, nah, he's like, they don't know. I got you. So he starts doing a little massaging, a little pulling, a little pushing, a little this, that. Next thing you know, Jessica Pene's like, it feels way better. And
Wow.
I was like, come on now, right? Like, after he walked off, I was like, you're just being nice. He's like, no, whatever he did. She's like, I've been doing rehab and physical therapy and all that. She's like, whatever he just did.
No shit.
She's like, I have more comfort in that area than I've had in months.
Wow.
So shout out to
Wow.
ring announcer / miracle worker, Dr. David Sarnoff.
Miracle hands. That's good shit.
Yeah, it was
Well,
cool.
I'm sure he'll be getting a call here soon. She's like, hey, can we do this again?
It was so funny because I was like, what if he screws something up? Like, this chick is
Well, especially, I have a buddy that does like the whole active release therapy and all this other stuff, and I love him to death. But I remember there's a couple times, say if we've been having drinks or whatever, and I've seen people like, oh, can you do this? I'm like, bro, you've had drinks. And he goes and do it, and I'll see him do like a neck crank, and I'm like, oh my God.
Dude, that is scary, man. You look like you could kill
scary.
somebody. He did a couple of those to some of the team that have been working there all week. He's like, oh, let me help you out.
It's crazy watching it done.
Just grabs the head and the chin, like, pop!
Yeah. You're like, I read somewhere some guy had cracked his own neck, gave himself a stroke.
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
Like, I crack my neck sometimes all the time. I don't do it like crazy, and I'm thinking like, did this guy just do like all of us do? Like, who hasn't been driving in your car and just kind of like tilt your head and until you get that little pop?
Yeah,
like, I'm like, was he doing that, or did he do like the whole grab it himself and then do it? Because I'm like, I'll be driving and I'm like, oh, let me crank. Oh, that feels better. I'm like, I don't want to do it and like stroke out driving the car. I'm like, totally like ruined cracking my own neck by doing that. But I'm thinking I probably didn't do it like this guy does it. But yeah, I saw that in the news.
It's pretty
crazy
pretty
shit
aggressive.
you read in the news.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of news, how about I think the biggest news right now has got to be this Yoel Romero $27 million lawsuit win, right? I mean, all the stuff we talk about in MMA. I got to be honest. I'm not feeling particularly great about his chances of getting this. For anybody that hasn't seen it, of course, Yoel Romero tested positive, and it turned out it was a tainted supplement. He actually went to the trouble of going and suing the company. And it turns out, yes, he got an award. Basically, it ended up being like $9 million, and then for the punitive damages, you get it in trouble. So you multiply that times 3. Anyway, the award is $27 million, which, again, you have a judgment. A judgment doesn't necessarily mean they write out the check to you right there. There's going to be some loops, some hoops to jump through, and some hurdles to get to collecting the money. So I don't feel particularly great about it. But I will say this: for Yoel Romero to go through this, man, to me, that sets the standard now. For when people say that, when people come at you with this, tainted supplement, and then that's all they ever do. They just take it and go. To me, this is the answer. You want to clear your name. You want us to believe that what you're saying is true. Yoel Romero just showed that it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. And I just noticed a spelling error that Mike Bond had on our website. He put Gold Stare Performance Products because I just tried looking up the name. Because when I thought about that, I was like, why wouldn't a company, if it's a national company or something along those lines, show up to defend themselves? I started wondering, me, I'm the Mr. Conspiracy Theory, started thinking like, what if it was a shell company that, wasn't even a company, just knew that I'm going to sue this fictional company that it's their product because I know nobody's going to show up because nobody actually exists. But this company is a real company, but it just blows my mind that nobody would show up.
Bizarre, right?
Which is just
crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, that shows that they're just...
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. There's nothing to defend, right? It's just like
there.
That's what I'm saying. You got the judgment awarded to you, but like if they didn't even want to contest it,
guy in a closet somewhere slapping labels on some random shit that he got from some random countries somewhere. But so we'll make a note to ourselves to fix the spelling error in an article.
I just did that while we were recording. That's how good we are.
Good man.
The typo does not exist anymore.
Aha! For those of you that were going to go try to find that on our page.
It is fixed.
Baha. But yeah, that's crazy. But you're right. I mean, it'd be awesome if he can even get a fraction of this. But you're right. If this is a company that can't even send anybody to, try to defend itself, there's probably nothing there. But in the terms of him being happy to say I was right, this company was wrong, I didn't do anything intentionally. That's great for him.
Well, and it just, to me, like I said, it sets the bar moving forward. If you're a fighter and you honestly believe that you've been done wrong, then let's see the lawsuit. You know what I mean? Let's see the lawsuit, and let's know that, hey, yes, you were telling the truth here, man. Like you really can't believe what's going on here. So I don't know.
It'd be nice if there was something like maybe a fighter union that had representation that they could actually, go file these things for them. Instead of a fighter having to go into his own pocket to hire a lawyer and a team to do this. It'd be nice if there was maybe a collective group.
If anybody's ever considered that.
It might be in their benefit. It might be in their benefit.
Yeah. I won't stay excited on that one.
But no, good for him though. I mean, good shit, man. It's funny how all of a sudden all the "I love you" memes and stuff started coming out, because I completely forgot about it until it's like a Yoel fight week.
Oh yeah,
I forget all about that, and then once the news came out, I was like, okay, I knew we were gonna get a lot of "love Jews" coming out.
Good.
So,
what do you think about Uriah Faber's comeback? I mean, I don't think it was really shocking, right?
It was not shocking.
We all knew it was going to happen. I think he had pretty much, even when he retired. I can't remember. I don't remember if it was on record or off record, but I know behind the scenes he basically always used to say, like, I'm just taking some time off and maybe I'll come back for one. You know what I mean?
And he always made it seem like with the right fight and the right money that he would be back. So I never thought that it was going to be the end all be all. In fact, it was just kind of like, all right, do I have to do this to get into the Hall of Fame? Let me just say I'm retiring. Let me just say whatever. But no, I kind of always felt like he would come back, and that's why I believe. It's hard for me to think that Hashad will stay away. I think there might be something with him maybe down the line. I mean, he's doing really well. He is doing the commentating, so I think he could be probably happy in just doing that. But Faber, I mean, he's been competing in jiu-jitsu. He's been staying active. I would think that those competitive juices have been bubbling under the surface for a while, and I think it was just a matter of getting something, maybe hitting the right dollar value, or maybe just saying, hey, let me just get a nice little fat paycheck here real quick.
I'm sure the money's good. I'm sure being able to fight in Sacramento meant a lot to him.
Yeah,
that's the hometown fight. That's got to be big. And I was a little bit surprised with the matchup, though. I mean, Ricky Simone is a talented young guy. And the weird thing is, it's not that I necessarily have a name in mind or I'm like, well, this would be a much better fight. I mean, I know he always teased the idea of fighting T.J. Dillashaw. Now, that is taken off the table, of course, so that's not there anymore. I know he always thought that would be a fight that made a lot of sense. The former pupil and the teacher. You know what I mean? Like that would have some interesting backstory behind it, so to speak. But I don't know. I don't hate the matchup. I was just a little bit surprised. And I did see a lot of people say, I can't believe he's not main event. There's no way he wanted to come back for a 5-round fight. I'm sure he wanted to come back for 3 rounds and not have to deal with doing a 5-round fight, to be honest with you. So that didn't surprise me at all. But I don't know. The matchup was a little bit, a little bit weird to me, I guess. I don't know what I thought it should have been, but it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were kind of expecting, I think when they think of these guys that have stepped away, that it's going to be these big hero versus hero fights, or a reason to come back. Like this person drew me back in. There was the shot at the title, and I couldn't stay away. This was not that case, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you're coming in and you're getting thrown right back in the mix. Against a very talented fighter that's very, very dangerous. That I'd have to look up the age difference, but I mean, he's giving up a decent bit of years as well. So,
yeah, and it's weird. It's not like it's definitely the young guy versus the older guy, to a degree. But it's also not like Manny Bermudez was asking for that fight. I actually thought that made sense. Like I'm going to take out the undefeated young kid. You know what I mean? Whereas like if you take out Ricky Simone, I'm not. I mean, not that Manny Bermudez is any more well-known than Ricky Simone. That's definitely not the case. I mean, I think the casual fan, both those names are pretty hardcore-only names, right, at this point in their career. And that's no disrespect to them. I'm just saying the average fan probably doesn't know who either Manny Bermudez or Ricky Simone is. But at least with Manny Bermudez, he's got that undefeated record where you got, so you can be the first guy to beat someone. Like, maybe that would mean a little bit more something. I don't know. Maybe that's not it either. But that fight kind of appealed to me, so...
Do we know if he was presented with options?
I don't know. I
So
tried
that's
to.
one of those
Yeah.
things. Like, I mean, maybe something like that did come up, and this was the name that Uriah's like, no, this is more. This is a better matchup for me. I want to go against the guy that's going to want to strike instead of the guy that's going to maybe want to, go to the ground or something. But I don't know. It's should be interesting. But I think that this is definitely a winnable fight for Uriah. But
Hmm.
um, I still don't know if I would pick him in it.
I know. As we get closer, that's gonna be tough, man. To pick against favorite in Sacramento. Oh man, what do you think about the main event? Aspen Ladd versus Jermaine Darandami. I gotta be honest and say I like the fight. I like the idea that Aspen's getting the main event. I like the idea that she's getting the push, that she's getting the opportunity. It was a fight that kind of came out of nowhere for me as well. Maybe it's just because Jermaine has been kind of out for so long. But
That's a big question mark. I mean, like I feel like Jermaine who like let's see when the last fight was. I guess not as long as it feels. I mean, November of 2018. Before that was a year and 2 months before
yeah,
that particular fight. She got the decision win over Raquel. I mean, that's tough. I mean, I picked Sarge to beat Aspen because I thought Sarge was going to be the tough, grinding fighter that was going to overpower her with strikes
hmm
and do that sort of thing. And Jermaine, in my opinion, hits harder
definitely,
than
no
Sarge.
question about it.
And Sarge did some work, but Aspen was able to grind it out.
I thought Aspen looked pretty flat in that fight. I will admit, even though she
And
she
which she even
grinded it out.
she even admitted that
Yeah.
she felt a little flat. And
But
she
I
had to
think
get through some.
your point is right that if she fights that same kind of fight, she's not going to be able to take those punches.
She's not gonna. It's not
from
gonna.
Jermaine.
Yeah, Jermaine. Just boy, she's on a different level. But I mean, the fact of her not being active, I just don't know where she's at, where her head's at. I mean, like, um, she's had an interesting path
Oh.
for her as well. I mean, that's
Well, that's what I saw a lot of people hating on this main event. All right, now here's the deal. I mean, for Sacramento, of course, the natural idea would have been like, can we get Uriah back? I don't think Uriah wanted to come back for 5 rounds, to be honest with you. I think he wanted
right.
to come back for 3. That's just a guess. I don't know that, but I think he only wanted to come back for 3. We know because Ali Abdelaziz said it on MMA Junkie Radio. They tried to get Cody Garbrandt to main event the show, which would have been another natural fit there. And Cody and Ali recommended against it for Cody, which I kind of agree. Take some more time. Don't rush back. You know what I mean? Like, get things right with your head, get things right with your body, get things right with your life, all those things. Um,
Legit with your head. Make sure your head's good.
exactly, 100%. So, I think the top 2 options that would have made the most sense, weren't available. Now, meanwhile, Aspen, I mean, she's from that area. I think she grew up about like 30 minutes from Sacramento or so. So she's from the area. She deserves the opportunity. But again, I saw a lot of people hating on the matchup as soon as we reported it. But I think some of that just might be because I think people legitimately just don't like Jermaine because of her history with the championship and walking away and not wanting to fight Cyborg.
Yeah.
I think people, at least that's what I think it is.
I think it definitely could be that. I think also too, as much as we maybe hate to say it on some things, I think there's still a lot of people that don't like female main events. I think
Fair.
they don't feel that they're getting their money's worth. If that's a shitty way of putting it, and that's just unfortunate. I mean, I think if you don't realize that the women put just as much effort and put on just as fun fights most of the time. I mean, I'll be with you. I mean, there's a lot of times that fights you're not getting the knockout fights that you normally get, but you'll get a good technical battle that gets to a decision. I think some people just like don't like fights that go to
True.
a decision. I mean,
True.
if you could watch a fight that you know is going to be guaranteed to, or maybe have a better chance to end in a knockout or say a submission, I think people want to see that. And a lot of times with a lot of the women's fights, they're very grueling affairs where eventually the more technical fighter or the one that has more heart and
Right.
has a little bit more energy pulls out the decision victory. But some people just don't like that. And I think sometimes there's a stigma that maybe that's what you're going to get when you have a women's fight, that you're not going to get that finish that you want. But a lot of times we're seeing the women get the finishes just as often as the guys do. So I don't know. I'd hate to think that that's what it is. I just don't know if it was maybe hate so much just because of what Jermaine's done in the past and kind of the flakiness. But you never know. I mean, but Aspen, I mean, that's a good sign the UFC is putting a massive push behind her.
That's it.
And
That's
a victory over Jermaine would be a huge feather in her cap, and it'd be hard to not put her as probably, if not the number one contender in the top three.
Pretty damn
in
close
the top
to it.
three by easy. But I don't know. I'm excited about it.
I do. I like it too.
I
think it's a good fight.
I think it should be a good fight. I mean, these are two good fighters that put a lot on the line. So it's interesting. It's kind of neat feel like we've seen Aspen just kind of come up and really just rise through the ranks very, very quickly, and to think that, wow, now she's main eventing the fight, and to think that the next possible step is that she is fighting a contender fight, or literally fighting for the title in probably the next couple fights.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool to watch it rise. All right, let's talk about the fights that are on the horizon this week. Unfortunately, we will have it's started. It's UFC on ESPN Plus 11. Gustafsson versus Smith is in Stockholm. We will have MMA Junkie Pear. He will be there. He's shooting photographs, but he kind of started a job, a newest job, relatively not that long ago, and he doesn't have a lot of vacation time built up. Basically, couldn't take off all week and cover it for us. So we don't have a ton of coverage from there. He did go by Media Day and shoot a couple things. So we got a couple little pics, couple of videos here and there, and we will have.
Is he shooting Fight Night?
He's going to shoot Fight Night. Yeah, we won't have our typical weigh-in stream. Unfortunately, we won't have that. So we're a little light on coverage, is what I'm saying this week, and I apologize for that, but that's just the reality of where we are these days. But Alexander Gustafsson versus Anthony Smith in the main event. I will say this: when they first announced this fight, I didn't understand it at all. I really didn't understand it at all. Neither guy is. I don't know what it means. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the stakes of this fight are. I mean, neither guy is going to be fighting for a title again anytime soon. So it's definitely not a number one contender fight. So I don't know really what the winner does. The loser definitely takes another step back, but the winner, I don't know that there's necessarily a lot there. So it confused me at first, but then when I started to think about it that way, I realized I kind of do like the booking for that way, because you know what? We know neither one of these guys are going to be fighting for the title anytime soon, right? But let's not have them potentially ruin somebody else. Let's not have them potentially beat, a Dominic Reyes, for instance, or, an Alexander Rakic, for instance, or somebody that's on the way up. You know what I mean? Because these are both very capable, very dangerous guys. And so I feel like, you know what? If you pair them up, at least you're not screwing somebody else up along the way. So I don't know. At first I was kind of scratching my head, but now I'm kind of on board with the fight.
Yeah, when you put it that way, that's actually a pretty good way of thinking about it, because I mean, Anthony just had his shot. So most times when a guy loses, they usually have to work good 2, 3, or more victories before they get back up there. Alex has had a couple shots now against Jones, and nobody, I think, is really jumping, to get that one, especially since the last bout wasn't as competitive as the first one.
Right.
So yeah, I guess when you put it that way, where you kind of want to let the rest of the pool sort of filter out and kind of work its way up. But it's interesting, yeah, because I mean, the winner of this, where do you go? I mean, does that fight the loser of the Jones? But then that means they are still the number one contender fight.
I know.
You're like,
I know. I mean, listen, I think Dom Reyes is still on the rise. I think he's a guy that's going to be there soon. Of course, everybody's high on Johnny Walker. He's got to get healed up and get his shoulder all sorted out. Corey Anderson is saying, dude, you better give me my damn chance. I've been there. I've been deserving. So I mean, I think there's still a handful of people that can still challenge for things, and I think that's what you have to do. Is right now you have to keep Gustafsson and Smith. You got to keep them away from those people. So from that aspect, I don't hate the matchup as much as at first I did. So listen, you touched on a couple things there with Alex. Knowing that the first time, the second fight with John Jones didn't go as well as the first, and nobody's been clamoring for that. So I did get a chance to talk to Alexander Gustafsson about it, and I like his attitude about this fight. I really do. I was worried at first. I thought maybe, just the way he looked after that last fight, almost just like shell-shocked, confused, frustrated, didn't really know what his next move was. And I wondered if it was a situation where the only reason he was back in this fight was the chance to fight in Stockholm? You know what I mean? And is that the only reason? Like, I don't want to say you got forced into it, but did you really want to be here? And it sounded like you did. So here was my conversation from earlier this week with Alexander Gustafsson. Alex, how you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, man. Let's talk about the last fight just for a minute. Alex, you were so polite and such a good sport about everything that happened, but now a few months later in retrospect, I mean, can you admit that was a pretty rough situation for you to be in?
Yeah, well, it was, of course. It was a really tough situation for me and the team, and we put in so much work in it, and then we end up short, and for the second time. So it was hard. It was hard, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, well, and I don't even mean so much the result. I just mean everything that you had to deal with the whole thing. I mean, you took it in stride, but I gotta imagine. I mean, that was hard for you.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I came there to fight, and if I'm fighting in Vegas or in LA, or it doesn't matter when it comes down to it. I was ready to fight. I was ready for John, and no excuses. But really, it's just I end up short this time. So yeah, it is what it is.
No doubt. Well, you're always a professional. Let me ask you about this fight. I mean, would you, if this fight wasn't happening in Sweden, do you think you'd still be fighting now, or was it, obviously the chance to fight at home that got you back into the cage?
No, we will be fighting for sure. I'm really excited to be home, to be able to fight at home here in Stockholm at the Globe. It's always an experience. It's always amazing to have the fans behind you and feel the crowd when you're coming in there. So, but wherever we will be, we end up. I will end up fighting Anthony Smith for sure. He's on the list, and it's just now we're gonna crossroads. If not on Saturday, we will probably crossroads another day. So it's just meant to be.
Yeah, no doubt. I wanted to ask you about fighting in Sweden. I mean, you're such a star there. It is so amazing when you fight there, just the energy and the love that you get. But I wonder what that moment is like for you. I mean, is it fun to have all that, or is it a little scary, a little nerve-wracking? I mean, all those people kind of have their hopes and dreams and their expectations on you.
No, I love it, man. I love it. I think it's a highlight every time the UFC comes to Stockholm and here to Sweden to have a show. It's always a highlight in my career for sure. It's just an amazing feeling to step in and have fun. Basically, I feel calm. I don't feel nervous at all. I feel really calm and ready for the task. I think Anthony Smith is a great guy, and he's a really tough opponent. He comes with a lot of heat. He throws hard. He throws really hard, and he comes fast. So you have to be ready. It's a challenge for me, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and you're very respectable, Anthony. I wonder, I mean, of course, he just fought for a title as well, but were you watching his rise up the ranks? It was pretty quick. Were you keeping an eye on him? Is he somebody that you saw coming up that you thought you'd cross paths one day?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've seen him, and he's been looking good. He looked really good to fought John, and in that fight, he was just a totally different fighter, but he's been going through the division hard and been finishing some legends in the sport, and he's a guy to be ready for, and I'm more than ready.
You've obviously fought the absolute best in the world. I mean, you've been at the top of the division for a long time. So when you see him, is there anything in particular? I mean, is there one thing he does that has you a little nervous or a little concerned? I mean, is there anything special about him compared to the quality of people that you faced?
Well, he rushes you. He comes hard. He got some power in his hands, and he has a lot of experience in the cage. He knows what he's doing. He's not stressing at all. I've seen him in really bad positions in the fight, and it looks like he doesn't care. He just don't stress, and that's also a really good quality to have, because he saves himself. He's a guy you think you're close to finish the guy, and you go all in, and he's still there. He's still there. So he's a tough guy to finish, and So, but I see him get tired in the fight. He gets tired and he gets sloppy. So I got my weapons ready for him, and they're all loaded and ready to fire. So I'm here and can't wait.
I dig it. What's the motivation for you right now, Alex? I mean, getting a third title fight is kind of tough sometimes in the UFC. I mean, do you
No.
Do you still think about the title, or what drives you?
No. I don't even thinking about John or the title or any of that anymore. It's been too much and too long in my head. I just don't really care anymore. I just take one fight at a time, and just get back to it. So I want to stack up my wins again. I want to beat the best guys. Of course, I want to beat the top guys too. But I tried, and I'm just like I have to go back to where I started and take one fight at a time. Try to be a better fighter, be a better competitor, and take it from there. Take one fight at a time and win every fight and stack them up, and then let's see what the future brings. My motivation right now is to support my family and have fun doing what I love to do.
Is that almost more freeing, like more fun, like less, not have to worry and stress out?
No, exactly. It's much. I think that's more mind type of. It's more me,
Yeah.
I just want to, when I started this career, I just came like a wrecking machine. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about the title. I didn't care about whoever was in front of me. I didn't care about where I was fighting or how many fights I had a year. I just went all in, and that's where I'm getting back to now, starting with Anthony Smith here in the Globe.
That's awesome. So really, you think it'll probably translate to what we see in the cage? I mean, you feeling a little more free, you feeling a little more comfortable. It'll probably translate to what we see.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I feel super calm, super relaxed. I got a great flow going now in my training. My conditioning's on top, and I just feeling so relaxed, and I'm ready for it. This is my reward. I don't care about. I don't care about anything else. It's just to be able to be in that octagon, fighting the guy now in front of me. Just that is a reward for me, and just having fun doing it with a smile on my face.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's going to be a fun fight. I know we're all looking forward to it. When you play it out, how do you think it plays? Are we going to see something quick and crazy, or do you think we're going to see something drawn out? What kind of fight are we going to see?
No, let's see what happens. I just want to make sure I win every fucking round there is. I'm just put a beating on him. It could have. It doesn't really matter. As long as I'm winning, that's the most important thing. But I see myself there in the later rounds. He gets tired, gets sloppy, and I see myself see an opening in the later rounds, and I'll take it.
Awesome, Alex. Well,
take it.
You sound good, man. You sound really good. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, that was Alexander Gustafsson. So, Cole Carvey's things that stand out to me there, man. Number one, the guy just sounds relaxed. He sounds happy, man. I think that for him to say, listen, I mean, I didn't mean to be rude by saying like, hey, obviously you're not fighting for a title shot, so what does it mean? But I don't know, for him to just say, dude, I don't have to deal with that anymore. I'm not thinking about number one contender shots. I'm not thinking about titles. I'm not thinking about none of that. I'm just having fun. I love fighting in Stockholm. I love the feeling. I love the energy. I'm going back to who I was, to what I was. To me, that's encouraging. And the more I think about it, that really does fit his personality a lot, man. He's not a trash talker, rivalry kind of guy. And maybe he's never going to be champion unless John Jones goes up to heavyweight or something like that. I don't mean that as any disrespect. I just don't think I'd pick anybody against John Jones in the light heavyweight division. But maybe that's not the worst thing for him, man. To fight in some big fights, especially over in Europe. He loves fighting in Stockholm. And I don't know, he just sounds so much more relaxed than I think of the way he was ahead of the Jones fights in particular.
You're right. And I think you never know. I think there could be something that's said about maybe that past performance and maybe the stress and everything that he put on himself, and let alone everything else that maybe he thinks that might be what affected his performance.
Yep.
There were things outside of the fight, and I think by getting back to being able to fight at home, and then be able to just sort of know that there's no extra pressure. I mean, he's still carrying the pressure of a main event, but it's not a main event going for the title.
Right.
It's not a rematch against a guy that some people think that you beat. You're not carrying all this extra shit. So for him to just be able to get back and get to fighting, he's probably feeling like he's fighting without the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
It's probably a lot of fun for him, and just to know that. And I think there's probably something in being said that this is the guy that last performed against Jones, so he has that fight in his head. So he probably wants to get in there, put on a better performance, so he can show that, hey, he's still there at the top, but to not have to have all that extra stuff on him, it's probably a lot of fun for him.
I think it's a great thing,
And,
man. I think it feels like, to me, and again, it's weird, like when I talk about like being with BJ Penn and he gets you believing, and you know what I mean. It's always weird to put too much stock into how somebody's feeling. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I got a good energy from Alexander Gustafsson there, and I wasn't sure that it was going to be there. So I dig it. Listen, I should say, because I don't say it enough, if you like what you're hearing, take a second. Log into iTunes, rate us, review us. Give us 5 stars if you can. We'd appreciate it. Leave us some feedback. I love reading the comments, and we haven't had any in a while. And I realize it's because I never tell anybody anymore to do it. But I like reading the comments. It's fun. I feel like it's interacting, and it helps more people find the show.
That's it.
It's the algorithm. When you get those ratings and you get those reviews, it
Putting out
feeds the
some
algorithm.
technical terms. Just think about it. Just to jump back to Gus, because what do you think? I mean, because it's funny because,
Gus is going to jump at iTunes and leave us a solid rating.
He should, because I'm going to tell him what he could be doing as well. Is I think Gus, as much as I like this gentleman about to say, I think Gus would wreck Bader.
Ooh.
And Bader, while I think is such an impressive guy with what he's able to do with his wrestling and his ground game, you mentioned you wonder what's next for Alex. Where could he go? I mean, if leaving at the top of the game of where he's at, and if Gus moved over to like Bellator,
right?
I wouldn't go to one, because one's gonna throw you against some serious ass motherfuckers.
We see how one treats you.
We see how one treats you. But I think that would be a fun matchup that nobody's thought about anytime, because you never had to really thinking about it, because Bader's been gone for a while, you know. But he could legit go over to Bellator and make a huge impact right from day one. And I don't know. Just something to think about.
It is, I mean, because if you know you're not going to beat John, and you know you're not worried about
nobody's going to beat John.
Nobody's going to beat John.
Not for right now.
And I don't think I mean, maybe that's not the right way to look at it. Maybe because we know that's the type of confidence and self-belief that you have. So it can't be, well, no, I'll never beat him. I think it'd be more like, well, I know they're never going to give me that fight again because we've already had it twice, right? And you don't get
it's going to be a minute.
Yeah, you don't get third title shots. So. And maybe fighting the Dominic Reyes of the world doesn't excite you. Fighting the Johnny Walkers of the world doesn't excite you, because you're like, hey, I've already put my skins on the wall. They're still coming up in the game. Then going over there and making a nice little paycheck.
Get some paycheck,
and the strength of schedule is a little bit easier. I mean, now Ryan Bader's
he could probably have a title shot within 2 fights.
Absolutely. He could walk into one.
He could probably walk into one if they did it, but I would imagine they'll probably throw him against one fight.
Yeah.
But I could see him coming in immediately and fighting like McGeary or Davis.
Oh, absolutely.
Straight from the get-go. And I don't know. That might be. I think that just when it gets to a certain point where it's tough, and we see how the UFC. I mean, like right now, the UFC has a need for Alex because he's at the top of the division, but they need him for Sweden.
Right.
Once his card's done, you've seen them make questionable decisions and letting guys go for some whatever reason. What if they just reach at a point where they're like, Jones isn't going anywhere right now, we can't give Gus the top if he's not happy fighting so and so and so and so. I don't know. Not that I'm trying to ride him out of the organization or whatever, but
just looking at opportunities.
Dude, he could go over and fucking wreck shit in Bellator and would make money, and he could probably have his hands on a belt sooner rather than later.
It's not a bad idea.
And it's fine. fucking Bader's got belts out of his ass. You know, he could just, you want this light heavy? Take it.
That's whatever.
Take it. I'm just going to chill at heavyweight right now.
I got belts everywhere, dog. I got more belts than I know
so
what to
many
do
belts.
with.
They're going to make another division. They're going to make super heavyweight, and Bader's going to get that one too.
That's funny. All right, let's talk about the man on the other side of the cage. It will be Anthony Smith, of course, a guy that we've always been high on. I've told the story many times of meeting him early in his career when he had a losing record.
If there was a week called Anthony Smith, we would have done smoked it already.
I'm telling you, dog.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a great dude. But he was another one that I was a little worried about, right? I mean, he kept talking about, I need time off, I need time off, I need time off, and now he's right back in here. And again, a fight that I didn't really understand at first, but now I've kind of come to grips with it and come to terms with it a little bit. So I had a chance to speak to Anthony Smith as well, and I thought this was a good conversation as well. I feel a lot better about this fight after talking to both men. Here's what Lionheart had to say. Anthony, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's good to talk to you again. How's Sweden treating you so far?
Oh, it's not bad, man. It's not bad at all. It's a pretty cool city. You ever been here?
Yeah, man. I had to miss this one, but I've been there a couple times. I actually really like it a lot, man. I feel like the people are really cool there. I like it.
Yeah. So far, it's been cool, man. We had lunch earlier. The food was good, and kind of went down to the little city center area earlier and walked around, man. I don't know, like the culture's cool, you know, the small little shops and the small streets with the bricks. It's cool.
No question about it. People being okay to you? Do they recognize who you are? They know you're going up against their guy?
Yeah, man. It's a little bit different though. You know, in Brazil, people are screaming and hollering at you, telling you you're going to die. And here in Sweden, they're asking you politely not to win.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, let me ask you, man. Why are you fighting again right now, man? I thought you wanted some time off. I thought you wanted to take a little time to rest. What are you doing back in there so quick, man?
Man, I don't fucking know. You know, I gotta shake this feeling, man. You know, when you hear fighters talk, I guess I don't know, but amongst each other, we talk about, you know, when you're leading up to a fight and you get that fire in your stomach and you're just real short with people and you're irritable and by the time the fight gets there, you get to go in there and you get to let it out, you know.
Right.
And I didn't get to let it out. You know, I've been walking around with that fire in my stomach ever since the fight. So, I just want to. Goddamn, I want to break, man. I want to break so bad, but I can't do it coming off of that performance. I can't. I'll never rest. You know.
Yeah.
That's all I'll think about. So, I just got to get that. I got to get that off my back. You know. I just want to perform. You know. It sounds crazy, but I just want to punch something. You know what I mean? I just need to hit. I just need to hit somebody and. That's all I want to do. You know, I haven't thought about winning. I haven't thought about losing. I haven't thought about the title. I haven't thought about the implications or where they're going to put me in the rankings. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I just want to go in there and just let it all out. You know, I just got all this, I don't even know what to call it, like this just burning feeling of just needing to just destroy something, you know, and I've had to hold it in, and I wasn't, for whatever reason, I just wasn't able to let it out in John fight, and I just can't rest like that.
You know, it's interesting because you said, I mean, it was weird watching that night, man. It's like it just wasn't you, man, and I just wonder. I mean, you were frustrated afterwards, and it was obvious. I mean, but when you had time to kind of soak it all in or whatever, I mean, what lessons did you take out of it? Or were you able to figure what the hell happened that night?
No, you know, man, I don't want to make excuses. You know, like I got a pretty good idea, but you know, I just don't want to make excuses. I'm not going to be that guy. You know what I mean? I don't want to be. You know, Alex is. I'm not going to make any excuses, but it was this, and this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm not going to be that guy. But I think I got a pretty good read on it. And it's just not going to happen again. You know, it's just not. I can't let it happen again. I'd rather go out on my sword than let that happen again. You know.
I mean, was it physical? Mental? What?
It was more physical. Yeah. It was more physical. Yeah. I mean, I was dealing with some shit, you know, and we all do. But it's just part of the game, you know. And I took care of a lot of stuff that needed to be taken care of, and I'm feeling physically better than I felt for the last 5 years, probably. You know, it's
good.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was a shitty deal, though.
Yeah, understandable. So let me ask you this. I mean, as far as this fight goes, I mean, Alex, of course, he's been around forever, man. He's well respected. He's been, you know, one of the top guys forever. I mean, Does he represent anything to you, or is this more just about I got to get back in there, and it really doesn't matter who the hell's on the other side of the cage?
That's it, man. Obviously I like to fight. He's a big name. He's the top dude you can get. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's not a terrible bonus. But I just don't care who it is. I just want to fight. Had this been earlier in my career, I'd been doing it on some bullshit regional show for no money at all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just to get it out. But fortunately, I'm not on the regional scene, and the paychecks aren't terrible, and the stage is big, and the bonus that I'll get from it is great. But I just need to get in there. That's it, man. I know probably 100 guys say this, but I'm telling you the truth, man. I haven't thought about Alex specifically almost at all,
right?
Because this one's about me. If you really listen to the build up to the John fight, it was about the title and just goddamn, I just want it so fucking bad, and it was about making my family proud and making their sacrifice worth it, and making it worth it for my kids. So when they look back, it was worth it for them and whatever. It was about so many other things. It was just there was so much going on, and I just wanted everyone to be so happy, which was why it hurt so bad when I lost, because I felt like I lost it and I blew it for everyone. But honestly, man, of course everything I do is for my family, but this one's for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to fight. I don't need to. I don't need the money. I'm in the top 5. I could just sit and let the division develop and see what happens and come back when I feel like it.
Right.
But I can't just sit with this burning feeling and the feeling of the John fight. I got to shake it, and there's only one way to do that, and it's just to go in there and do what I do. There's no game plan, everyone wanted to talk about game plans, and I said, listen, there's no fucking game plan. I'm done with this game plan bullshit. That's not how my brain works. We talked about it, and honestly, the deeper we get into game plans, the worse I fight.
Right.
I do better when I just react and I just do what feels right. And, I'm not an idiot, so I obviously am aware of where Alex is good, and I'm aware of where his holes are at. And there's it's just how the fight game is. You got to avoid some stuff, and you got to try to navigate your way into other stuff. But as far as the black and white game plan, you need to do this and go here, and when he does this, you do this. Fuck all that. I'm done with it. I'm just going to react, and most of the time, my instincts are right.
Yeah. Did anybody advise you against jumping in here? I mean, I hear what you're saying. I get it, man. It's for you, and you gotta get that. But did anybody say, Anthony, you're talking about, again, fighting this top guy, doing it in his backyard. You got to travel. I mean, did anybody in your camp say, maybe we should take something a little easier? Maybe we should try to find something that suits us a little better?
No, not at all. I think everyone's seen what I feel.
Right.
I think everyone kind of seen where I was at. And it just wasn't in a good place, and there's only one way for Anthony Smith to shake that. That's it. There's only one way to get out of it, and that's just to go, just punch something. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hit Alex where I can hit him. I'm gonna punch what I can punch. I'm gonna kick what I can kick, and if he gets too close, I'll drag him to the ground, and if he gets back up, I'll do it again. That's just my style. And I did a lot of, I don't want to say soul searching because that sounds kind of silly, but I did a lot of sitting around and really trying to figure out who I am, and I think that the John fight helped me. Honestly, it just forced me to have to do that. I think that when you finally are honest with yourself about who you are as a person and who you are as a fighter, I think you grow. So of course, everyone wants to be the I don't know, the TJ Dillashaw of their division, super clean striking, never makes any bad decisions. Everything's really, really pretty. But that's just not me.
Right.
That's not what got me here. So it's almost like in the last 2 fights with even the Vulcan fight, we it's like the competition gets harder, and so you think you need to have a more intensive game plan, and you got to be the super clean striker. It's not that I don't have the ability to do that stuff. If I wanted to go in there and just be like, I had the technique and the ability. I can be a clean striker and be the really pretty fighter when I want to be. But when I'm in there, that means if I'm doing that, it means I'm thinking, because in my heart, like deep down who I am, that's not me.
Yep.
So I'm forcing it, you know? And if I'm thinking about it, then I'm always going to be a second behind. And I'm always going to, you know, like question myself or wonder if that's the right decision. If I just go in there and just do what I make shit ugly. And I put pressure on people mentally and physically. And I keep coming forward and my power never fades. And I just don't give a shit. You know, I just do what I do, and I come forward and I just pressure people. And I kind of got away from that because it's like you think that as you get stiffer opponents that you have to change something, you know, and I think I changed what got me to the dance, and I think I just needed to get back to evolving and getting better at what I already do.
That's awesome, man. Well, it sounds like you're in a good place, man. Hopefully this brings the peace that you're looking for. What do you do with the win? I mean, do you take that time off that you really want to take, or are you just addicted to this game? Because, I mean, a win, I got to think they're throwing you back in.
No, man, I promised my kids and I promised my fiance that this is it. Whatever happens, and I'll take off all the nice weather months. So I'll think about fighting again, you know, in the wintertime, the first of the year or something. But it's very clear to everybody that I need a break, but I wasn't going to get it this way,
yep.
You know, and I think that was clear to everyone. So I think everyone's good with it. But I made a promise, and I always talk about taking a break, and I need the time off, but I've never asked the UFC for it. You know what I mean? I've never, I've said it out loud, I've said it in the media, but by the time I would come around to say, you know, asking the UFC, like, hey, I'm going to take a break, they've already called for a fight. So they already know. If they call, I'll change my number, I swear to God.
That's awesome, brother. All right, man.
And I don't want to break any promises to my kids. You know what I mean? I made that promise. Everybody gets the summer off. My fiance graduated college. My kids are out of school the day before I fight. We got a long summer planned.
That's awesome, man. All right, brother. Well, I know you got a busy day. I appreciate you taking the time. Sorry I can't be there, but definitely be watching, man.
Awesome, man. You take care of yourself.
All right, talk to you soon, bro. All right, that was Anthony Smith. And all right, a couple things that I really took out of this. Number one, I understand his frustration, man. You know, again, I was a little worried. You know, he kept talking about the need to take time off, and he's jumping back in here. And I wondered, you know, where's his head at? Where's his body at? But, man, to hear his frustration and to know that he's like, listen, I would not rest. I would not feel right because I was so upset about the way things went with John Jones that I got to get in there and I got to hit somebody, you know. And I love what he said. You know, this is for me. You know, it's not for my family, not for, you know, everybody. I wanted that last one for everybody else. This is for me. I got to get in there and do it. And I don't know. It put me a little bit more at ease because I thought maybe they were kind of rushing the guy back in or, you know, pressuring him back into being in a situation he didn't want to be in. But it sounds to me like, no, he's all in, and this is a fight that not only does he, you know, need, but he just really, really wants it.
Yeah. When have we ever heard a fighter not, like, want to get right back in? You know, it's like if you leave it up to a fighter, they'll fight as often as they possibly can, even when you really should hold them back. But it's good that he wants to get back in there, and I can totally see that. I mean, you could tell by the end of that fight, he realized he gave all that he could, but I think there were points where we probably questioned, could I have done something a little bit better, and maybe it put doubts, and the best way to erase those doubts is to just get back in there. And against a guy like just like we said when we flipped it before, a guy that's fought Jones, and he fought Jones twice, but also a guy that gave John his money, so he probably wants to, you know, see where he gauges himself in that point, but also too, I think just to probably get that L off their mind. And we hear that over and over again from fighters. You know, I just want to get back in there. I want to get that loss off my mind. I want to get my hand raised. You know, I want to get that second part of the paycheck back. And you know, it didn't seem like he was hurt that bad after the last one. You know, there wasn't any glaring, you know, dangling arm or something, you know, like he looked like he was still okay. So if he feels good and if he feels this is something he wants to do, you know, and I'm all for a fighter getting back in there and getting that off. So yeah, I mean, if his head's right, and his body's right, why not?
I dig it. And then he says he's gonna. Then he said he's gonna take some time off. So it is interesting. This card.
Sure. Until the next fight booking comes.
We'll see. No, this is a good card at the top of the bill, especially. I like it. I mean, when you've got your top 3 fights all in one division, that's pretty interesting to me because it means you're going to get some movement in that division, right? So, I mean, Alexander Gustafsson versus Anthony Smith, Ilir Latifi versus Volkan Oezdemir, Jimmy Manuwa versus Alexander Rekic. You've got a lot of ranked light heavyweights in action right there, and so you're going to get some movement. And I like that. You know, it's kind of I don't know, to give a nod to the PFL, I guess, where like every time, you know, it's the whole weight class compete. So it feels like all the fights are intertwined together a little bit. You know, that's one thing I've really liked about the PFL season is that, like I said before, you know, it's the whole division changes it on a night, and and the bouts feel like they're tied together some way, like they have some kind of meaning. Whereas, you know, when it's just a fight in every weight class, it's, you know, okay, it's cool, it's a good night of entertainment, but you don't necessarily learn a lot at one time. And with this one at 205 especially, man, we're going to find out a lot. And then even all the way down there with Devin Clark and Darko Stasic on the prelims as well. So quite a bit of action at light heavyweight. It's definitely a top-heavy card here in terms of like big names that light heavyweight division is at. But Makwan Amirkhani is coming back against Chris Fishgold. And if you saw their stare down earlier today, of course, Makwan is used to being in some entertaining stare down. Sometimes I don't even know if he doesn't. I don't even know if
he didn't initiate that. He pushed.
He did push.
But Fishgold's the one that put his forehead into him.
That is a good point.
From the angle that I saw, Fishgold, that's on him.
See, that is a good point, because I was going to say, like, sometimes I feel like with Makwan, I don't even know if he really doesn't like the other guy. He just knows that, like, I'm going to put on a show. Yeah. But you are right. Fishgold did he was the one that kind of initiated it.
I mean, Makwan, he put his head down, of course, you know, to get in the face, and it's one thing to go, but they touched heads. Like, Chris put his forehead in, and then you saw the lean into it. At that point, then I think, Makwan just lost it and was like, all right, well,
he's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, because then at that point, it's like, okay, now you're trying to piss on my manhood, and then shit got real. And then it's funny. Then Dan's like, all right, can we still do this? And Security Steve's like, no, we're done, Dan. We're done.
Thanks. So good.
And I did notice on this card, B, she's at Fortis, right? B. Malecki?
Yeah.
So we're always high on when Fortis gets their fighters in there. We kind of homer for those guys. Safe's always been a real good dude for us. So I saw that, and so I was happy to see her on the card as well. So that dude's getting some fucking airline miles, man. He's like you. He's on the road now all the time now.
Did you see, by the way, if you're a big fan of Say So, and you mentioned Brendan Fitzgerald earlier, he's doing a podcast now, Brendan Fitzgerald is, and he basically does like just one long form interview with a fighter or whatever, but he had Safe on as like episode number 3 or 4 or something like that.
Cool.
And yeah, man, she Safe did a great one. Is she at Fortis, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, she's been there. I mean, I'm not sure if she was just swinging in there or whatever. But yeah, if you even look at I pulled up her Instagram, and as recently,
started second guessing myself.
As of when was this post? This post is from May 14th. Yeah, it's got her here working in the mitts.
Dig it.
Fortis. So
I didn't know she just stayed out there. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if it was just, but that's not too long ago. I mean, maybe it was just a short-term little thing. But
it's funny because I'm really interested in that fight because I mean it's 1-0 versus 3-0 in their careers, and they're in the UFC. You know, that's pretty crazy to be in the UFC that earlier in your professional career.
Yeah, well, she got a lot of exposure from the the tough.
Definitely.
What was it? The tough heavyweight / whatever smashers.
Heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters. That's what it was. Tough heavy hitters.
How does that not stick out in your brain? I mean, just as the highlight of your whole day.
I know, right? I mean, so yeah. I mean, interesting. I mean, I think plus too. I mean, I'm glad that they're giving it a shot because she was one of the ones I remember saw, and I was like, okay, not bad to look at, but she has decent size. That if her striking and if her skills matched up to her size, that could be a formidable person. So, and now that I saw that she did some work with Fortis, I was like, all right, got to keep her around. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do with her, if in fact that is a long-term relationship with that gym. So, he's trained some killers, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with her. But Yeah.
He's a good dude, man. He puts together some and like I said, if you're interested, check out this podcast with Brendan Fitzgerald, man. He has a really good kind of long form sit down with Safe. So I like Brendan, man. He's a Vegas guy too. I need to hang out with him more often, man. I'd like to pick his brain a little bit. He's a good dude. All right, listen. We're not on the road, so but we'll be on the road next week.
Next week.
Did want to say though.
Where are we staying? We got like an Airbnb?
No, we're at the host hotel.
At the host?
Yeah,
Okay.
make life nice and easy. It is official. We mentioned it last week. There was going to be some continued movement on the MMA Junkie team. It is official.
Oh.
Simon Head, longtime contributor from the UK, is officially joined our team. The contract, for what I understand, has been executed, so we can talk about it now.
The Duke. I'm calling him the Duke now.
The Duke?
The Duke of Rochester.
Because we now have two Simons.
Yeah, two Simons. I'm calling him Duke from now on, so you can help me work that one in. I'm just going to call him Duke.
Just Duke?
Just Duke.
Maybe I'll just put that on the schedule. Duke. Everybody will figure it out. So he's joining our team. So he's going to start next, I want to say Thursday is his first day. So
Yeah, I was surprised when he said something on his Twitter when I was like, were you supposed to say that already?
yeah, I think the contract's all been signed. So, again, I've been told I can't make announcements, but there are more changes coming. There are, I'll just say it, there's some people leaving. Not ourselves. We are sticking around. We are with MMA Junkie, but there are a couple folks stepping away from our team. But I can tell you that we are in discussions with other folks as well. So there will be more changes on Simon. If things work out the way that they're supposed to, we'll have some potential more additions to announce with Simon Head. So I'm excited. Hate to see change, obviously, but the folks that are making moves, they're going on to different opportunities, and certainly appreciate the contributions that they've made to the team so far, and wish them well in their new ventures. But life goes on here at Junkie as well, and I'm happy about the people that we're talking about bringing on board.
Yeah, I only know Simon, so that's good. I like bringing the Duke on board. He's always a fun person, so it'll be good to work him back in.
I'll tip you off the air.
Okay, sounds good.
It's off record, so don't tell anybody.
I did see Simon was going to be over here for International Fight Week. So.
Simon Head. Yeah, actually, Simon Head's going to be here, so that's great. Actually,
so we'll have to bring him on.
Simon's going to be here, yeah, so he'll be part of it. He was already coming anyway. He's actually going to crash at my house. He was going to do it on his own dime. But he wanted to come over anyway. But now he's part of the team, so we'll have some additional coverage on International Fight Week.
Yeah,
our buddy Abby Saban will actually be here as well. Now, he's going to be on vacation. Yeah, he's not. We won't be able to use him.
Let's not make him work.
No. And he's bringing his girl too, so it's not like, hey man, just tell your girl to kick rocks for a second.
Like her and Agent H can kick it. We're gonna have you on camera.
Yeah, no. We're gonna let him hang out. He's coming over strictly for vacation, but we will have a pretty big team. And in fact, I don't know if it'll happen or not, but Simon Simano is actually, I think Mike Bond had mentioned maybe flying in on his own dime to just come down here and go see his dad or something. So if that happens, then
his dad's in Vegas. Huh?
SoCal. Then Dave Doyle and Simon Simano we might have a big junkie gather. Yeah, I already told him, I was like, dude, we can't get everybody credentialed. Like they'll shoot us if we have that many credentials. But yeah, we have that. And
maybe I'll just take the week off. We'll put Abby on. I'll hang out with this girl and my girl.
Wow.
Abby can work the event.
Did you just say I'll put her to work and hang out with this girl?
Yeah, why not?
Wow.
She's coming over here for vacation.
That is aggressive, sir.
Well, I'm just trying to help the team and get credentials for people that want them. So,
that is quite aggressive, sir. So anyway, changes afloat, but I think they're going to be good for us in the long run. I'm excited about bringing in some new talent and having some new members of the team. So it's
that
always
should be fun. So I'm excited. Fight week should be fun.
Yeah, fight week will be good.
Should be pretty fun.
Actually, Simon Simano.
Normally that's a crazy bullshit fight week because they're only doing one.
Only doing one event. Yeah, International
Fight
Fight
Week. Not 2 fight weeks. Not 3 fights. That was absolute balls to the wall.
When they would do
crazy.
3, like when there would be like morning weigh-ins, media day, afternoon weigh-ins, fight, all in one day. It was like, you have got to be kidding me, dude.
I fucking hate you.
Kill me now. Kill me now. I love MMA, and I don't like the there's too much MMA argument. For me, the more MMA, the better. It's the more opportunities. It's more places for people to fight. Like my boy Justin James over at Extreme Couture, my kid's wrestling coach, picked up a win at Warrior Wednesday 3 last night on UFC
cool.
Fight Pass. So I love seeing people get opportunities like that. But yeah, not when they're all in one damn day.
Yeah, that sucked.
It's a little bit much.
That sucked. So no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that week.
I dig it. All right, well, listen, I got to pack up. I'm going to go call the fights for Final Fight Championship tonight, me and Frank Mir. It's on tape delay on CBS Sports Network. Unfortunately, that's still kind of they just plug it in where they want to, so I can't tell you an exact time. Like, it depends on the market. So if you want to try to find it, it's on CBS Sports. But I can tell you that we've been talking with the folks at Final Fight, and hopefully later this summer we'll start streaming the fights live. So if anybody wants to just watch them, on a Thursday night, pick up some fights on Thursday night. Myself and Frank Mir calling them. It's mixed cards. It's kind of fun to do MMA and then boxing and then kickboxing and all this stuff. So so it's kind of cool. So anyway, I got to go do that.
Well, you got big things. Well, I got big things too. I eat so much Korean barbecue that tonight we're going to be in a commercial for the Korean barbecue restaurant.
This is so great. It's so great.
We get to be their token white people eating Korean barbecue.
So just gonna come in and shoot while you're grilling out on the thing?
Grilling and chilling. Yeah, I mean, you
get to have a few frosty beverages.
We're gonna have some frosty beverages, and it's all paid for. Whatever. Obviously, I don't have my SAG card, so I'm not gonna get union rate. So I will get a free dinner and some drinks out of it. But that's what I'll be doing later on this evening.
So everybody has to look out for the Sura commercial. If you're in Vegas,
please don't.
If you're in Vegas,
I should not have gave that
name out for the Sura commercial because Cold Coffee and Asian H are going to be chilling.
I'm going to put my. There will be no dialogue for as far as I know.
No, you're not. Have you been rehearsing your lines?
I haven't been rehearsing any lines.
Isn't this good, honey?
This is the greatest barbecue ever.
It's like we're in Korea.
It's better than in Korea. So I get to use my theater degree this evening. So. Yes, I'm going to find a way to jazz hands the dinner somehow. They're like, that's not how you work the tongues, but I'm jazz handing. Jazz hands.
As you can see, we all have very, very important gigs booked tonight. That's why we had to stick it to the 32-ounce pickle jar and the Chick-fil-A cup. So hopefully you can put up with it. We're back on the road next week. Finally, the road show will be on the road. We'll get back to where it all began. Thanks for putting up with this long while I was sitting at home. Thanks for listening.